At times, I feel bad for Sledgehammer for the position they were put in. I don't think anyone will argue that they got the short end of the stick when it comes to game development. I guess the long end of that same stick is going up to YouTube auditor's ass so he can go fuck himself. Now, before I get into the heart of the video, the gameplay in the background comes from Smelly Onions, and I believe this is one of the few times he was able to peel his ass away from Destiny to play something else. I think he played this when the game first came out and shit like that. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going back to Destiny if I want to play some repeat shit. So in any event, there you see it in the background. You have Smelly Undies gameplay back when he was playing this motherfucker. But anyways, I think they got a raw deal when it comes to their solo version of the game. But the more you look at their decisions, the more you realize that Sledgehammer Games just isn't that smart. In all honesty, they have zero originality, and that alone is going to be a big problem for them down the road, especially after Advanced Warfare. Now, let me explain a little bit about this. But Sledgehammer really isn't on par with the other two studios, and part of that is their fault, and the other part of that isn't. Sledgehammer is doing their first solo game, and as I said before, I was going to be open-minded towards their effort. Unlike a Treyarch game or a Bethesda game that I will never buy or play again, they're nowhere near that kind of shit list for me. Modern Warfare 3 was not their fault. They were set up for failure for that game, and while we'll never know the exact impact they had on Modern Warfare 3, that game's failure is mainly due to Activision and Infinity Ward. Fine, we get that. I think people will agree that game wasn't their fault. So when they announced some future Warfare game, people got excited. Game released, and for the most part, the reviews have been decent. I'm not going to say they were great, but for their first solo attempt at Call of Duty, the biggest selling annual franchise, you see that at least they didn't fall on their face and fuck up the entire project. They fucked up some parts, but not the whole game. So taking over for 1 year without completely failing is a step in the right direction for them. Now, as time has gone by and you got to see more of their work, more of their errors, and mainly now the DLC, I've come to the conclusion that while they put out a good effort and should be commended for it, they have no originality. Outside of the time period change to the future and giving their soldiers comic book style exosuits to fight the bad guys and all that other shit, the structure and the content of the game has largely copied Treyarch and to a smaller extent Infinity Ward. I expect developers to do a little copy and pasting from each other, or a little bit of borrowing or information sharing, since that's how sister studios are supposed to work. Just look at how Insomniac and Naughty Dog worked for years together. But Treyarch and Infinity Ward should be sharing ideas in common. As we found out through the Infinity Ward lawsuit, that wasn't happening because Infinity Ward was a bunch of dicks, while Activision was a bunch of money-grabbing cunts. Put dicks and cunts together, and somebody's gonna get fucked. And it always ends up being us players. But in any event, I want to stroll down memory lane for just a quick second to really illustrate the point that Sledgehammer is painfully lacking creativity. When Call of Duty 4 released and became a success, Activision forced Treyarch to copy that model when they released World at War, which was a blatant copy and paste. We all know that. I don't give a fuck how much you like World at War. It was a copy and paste with green and brown colors all over that motherfucker. The campaign was like everything else ever created, and multiplayer was Call of Duty 4 with tanks and dogs. However, the two decent things that Treyarch added to that game put their own little flavor to the game, and that was the campaign co-op, which is fucking fantastic considering the rest of the game was garbage, and of course, zombie mode. In other words, Treyarch nailed the co-op portion of the game. The rest of that shit was pretty terrible, but the co-op portion of the game was on point and the best entertainment in all of World at War. After that, Infinity Ward came back with Modern Warfare 2, which completely blew up the scope of the game. More kill streaks, more perks, upgradable perks, controllable kill streaks like the AC-130 chopper gunner, that fucking tactical nuke bullshit that has been part of Infinity Ward games. Oh, motherfucker, I can't stand that shit. And they also had their take on co-op, which was the Spec Op missions with 2 players. Infinity Ward also changed the interface of the game, they changed the visuals, but they maintained the look that Call of Duty 4 portrayed. But starting in the next version of Call of Duty Black Ops 1, Treyarch decided to make a game that was completely separate from Infinity Ward's brand of gaming. The core mechanics were the same, the engine's obviously still been the same, but other than that, they really changed their part of the franchise to make it something of their own. Top to bottom, Black Ops 1 was different. The presentation, the menus, the fonts, the gun sounds of all the weapons, even though they sounded like a muffled fart at times. Character animations like dolphin diving, kill streaks, or how you earn or lose the motherfuckers, the equipment, perk system, Call of Duty points, across the board, Treyarch changed the foundation of their version of Call of Duty games. They added more zombies to the game, they added more variety in how you play the zombies, so overall, they created their own niche in the series. After Black Ops 1, we know what abomination came next in Modern Warfare 3, Sledgehammer's first taste of Call of Duty, where their studio was now creating content for the franchise. And as I've said plenty of times, what went wrong with that game was not their fault. Not their fault at all. You can't blame them for being put in a position to fail because that's exactly what Activision did to them. Now, regardless of what went right and wrong with that game, they got their feet wet on full gaming design. Black Ops 2 then came along and did a shitload of things different, from a new way to earn kill streaks to the futurist campaign and shit like that, where the choices you made in the game could have an impact on the ending of the campaign. They also changed the presentation from the score streaks on the sides, so they had a completely different system, to the medals popping up for shit in the game. But the biggest and best change they made was the Pick 10 system, which essentially allowed full customization of all the shit you wanted to bring with you. Ghosts really changed up the presentation of their game. And the heads-up display, which I personally thought was a nice improvement. I like seeing my score. I like seeing my position at all times at the top of the game. I like that without having the need to press the select button. That was a nice touch. They also altered their Pick 10 system to something I said they should have done in the first place, where you allow any of the perks as long as they're balanced. And ultimately, the game flopped for the stupid shit they added to the fucking games, like the guard dogs and all that other stupid shit. Oh, god damn it, man. Ghost had so much potential, had so much in their favor in terms of what they were doing differently, only for that game to fall flat and completely fuck up Infinity Ward's reputation. So now we come to Sledgehammer. And while the presentation has changed, the time frame has changed, but the rest of the content is quite similar to Black Ops 2. After Black Ops 2 introduced the Pick 10 system and Ghosts altered it to their game, Sledgehammer is going back to almost the exact original design of how the Pick 10 system worked in Black Ops 2. Sure, they tweaked the recipe a little bit, and now it's the Pick 13 system, whatever the fuck they want to call that shit. But let's be honest here. How different from Black Ops 2 is it? It's not a lot. At least with Ghost, they offered up a system where perks were free-flowing and you could make any combination of perks based on how you wanted to play. In Advanced Warfare, we're back to the same structured categories of how to pick perks. It's the same restriction of limiting which perks can go together, as opposed to just balancing out the perks in the first place. It goes back to the wildcard idea that Treyarch introduced, and while you can swap out certain tiers of perks for wildcards and whatnot, it's not like Ghost, where you can take a shitload of lower tier shitty perks to build a perk-based soldier that improves your character. Black Ops 2 also suffered from that rock, paper, scissors issue that I mentioned in a video 2 years ago. It's Treyarch's staple to balance. In order to have balance, everything has to have a counter. My god, is that logic beyond ridiculously broken. You had 4 perks just to avoid shit. You had 4 perks in Advanced Warfare just to keep you hidden from shit. And this is the same exact path that Treyarch took. Almost 1/3 of their game, 27% to be exact, so really almost 1/4 of it, was meant to avoid something. Meanwhile, in Ghost, we only had 3 perks to avoid shit in the game out of 35 potential perks. That's 9%. So a quarter of Treyarch and Sledgehammer's perks were dedicated to avoiding shit in the game, while Ghost had less than 10%. Ghost's perks enabled your character. They empowered your character. In Black Ops and Advanced Warfare, you have a couple to avoid shit, and then some others that give you a few other perks and shit like that. That's not balance. That's not empowering your character. It's rock, paper, scissors all over again. Score streaks are pretty much identical to Black Ops 2. You know, at least Sledgehammer went one step further, and they allowed you to customize your streaks and tweak what you have with all of your streaks. But essentially, it's the same system of how we earn them, though. It's still the same version of airstrikes and UAVs. Then they add their flavor of their mini Titanfall robots, motherfucker. What the fuck is it with games and their giant-ass robots? We got Killzone, we got Titanfall, we got Advanced Warfare. Oh, man, these motherfucking Matrix movies, man, and Keanu Reeves. They made people think taking the blue pill was a badass idea. They had all those big-ass robots in Part 3, and now everybody wants that shit to be together. Oh, fuck that shit, man, I'm gonna get into it. Anyways, it's Black Ops 2 all over again. And of course, they just couldn't get away from Modern Warfare 3. Of all the fucking items they had to take with them from Advanced Warfare, we get the DNA bomb. Are you fucking kidding me? If the Moab alone wasn't annoying enough, or the Chem Strike alone, you had to take it now one step further with a 30-gun kill streak. Granted, these are rare, but once again, someone can kill an entire room with just one kill streak, whether or not they were camping in a fucking corner to get it. Doesn't end the game. Doesn't pull a Modern Warfare 2 nuke on the game, but this bullshit has got to fucking stop already. Stop rewarding these high-ass stupid kill streaks, because this is what enables people to act like an asshole, sit in a corner, play like a dick, and basically go for kills as opposed to the objectives. Now, in addition to all the in-game pieces that they took from Treyarch and Infinity Ward, they also had to go and add zombies. One of the few things I have liked about Treyarch games was zombies. A throwaway mode that almost never made it onto the disc of World at War, and it ended up being some of the most fun they had in the game. World at War was so fucking dreadful that the best part about that game had nothing to do with the story. It was an Easter egg that ended up being added because the studios wanted to let the team do something creative and fun, as opposed to making another brown and green World War II campaign again. Before Advanced Warfare even released, the Zombies mode was leaked, and it showed that Sledgehammer was giving players exosuit zombies. Really? Are you fucking kidding me? The absurdity alone is laughable, especially considering that Zombies mode was an Easter eggs, and now they have fucking jetpacks. Also, you have to consider that they already had an uninspired game mode of shooting waves of AI enemies and shit like that, and now you're gonna put zombies as part of future DLC. Now, I'm not gonna rant about that part of the DLC because I think the DLC needs its own fucking videos. I think Zombie deserves its own fucking rant, but clearly, this illustrates my point that Sledgehammer does not have a lick of creativity. You're copying Treyarch's signature mode. You copy their Pick 10 system and barely tweaked it, and you want to call it the Pick 13 system when it's really just the same shit. You kept the Moab from your adventures on Modern Warfare 3, and the most fucked up part about all this, Activision touted this as a 3-year development cycle, giving you more time to make a better game. So a better game equals rehashed ideas that we've seen before, only now we have exosuits to do it with. Granted, the game is more polished than some of the other prior games, but of course the servers are still fucked up online. Your creative juices are about the equivalent of 2 squirts of buffalo piss, but this is really fucking sad. There was plenty of opportunity for a co-op mode. Shit, I even gave you a fucking idea of computer AI taking over robots and vehicles, yet you couldn't even think of anything like that. You had to give us fucking zombies. Treyarch has had zombies, Infinity Ward added fucking aliens, and you have the brain power of a mental midget to have zero creativity in your game. Now, up to this point, for the most part, I haven't been too harsh with Sledgehammer because they've been put in a position to fail each and every time. They were forced onto Modern Warfare 3 when that project was a sinking ship like the Titanic. They were given the reins to their first solo game a year after Ghost disappointed people and Call of Duty Withdrawal already started to kick in, which resulted in slower sales. They had to live up to the expectation of this 3-year development cycle when the reality is they only had 2 years to put this shit together, and as a result of all that, you have a copy and paste job. I don't hold Sledgehammer at fault for the situations that are out of their control, but ultimately, copying Treyarch is a decision they made on their own. Activision does not have that kind of influence on games. They don't tell a studio, make this game into Black Ops 2.5 so that it's going to sell. They approve and they reject game plans. They accept design and vision for a game, but the decisions to copy the model of Black Ops 2 came from Treyarch. That is 100% their doing. There is no arguing around that. And while I'm sure fans of Black Ops 2 will appreciate these things and be happy to see these items are in the game again, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth paying $60 for a clone of a game, or would you rather just play the original one you already paid for and you own? Me, I always rather play the original and save my money. But oh wait, I didn't buy Black Ops 2 either. So I guess I did save a shitload of money anyways. Oh man, Sledgehammer, you had a golden opportunity here and you pissed it all away. But anyways, that does it for this video. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.